What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Scarpin Otto. This is our lovely co-host Vanessa,
David Kabushi Cars,
and we are joined by. Is that a tech deck?
What the fuck did you do?
Did you? But that wasn't me.
What did you do?
All right, hold on. Let me. What the fuck? Why does it say tech deck on here? Right underneath the
I can't read.
You see what that says?
Tech Deck in My Hero Academia bar.
Oh my god.
Kirishima.
Okay. We are joined. Can you stop? We are joined by
An unspecified skateboard.
Toy. Because
We didn't skateboard either.
we didn't get into skateboarding,
Because we're not cool.
but we got a skateboard. I don't know what happened, man. I'm sorry. We're both a little bit tired. We're both a little sleepy.
I think it happened during the convergence. We were like reaching for the matchbox, but then it like our hand went in and it came out like a different store.
Oh, right.
It
So
grabbed
it
the
grabbed
tech
the
deck.
different tech deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize till now, because we've been up since like 4:30, 5
Yeah.
o'clock a.m.-ish.
So here's the thing. If you couldn't tell, we got lanyards and special matching T-shirts, and I think our pants. Why do our pants match too? What the hell happened? What?
We didn't plan the pants. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, we went to go see all 4 Thor movies today. For the goat marathon.
That's not gonna be in focus.
Oh.
You got to go up to your phone.
The goat. There we go. Yeah. The goat marathon.
Greatest of all Thor,
Yeah,
and
and
not so greatest.
yeah, I mean, I guess it includes all of the Thors. So it was a movie marathon in.
Get a little Dark World over here.
What do you mean in there?
Get a little Dark World over here because it's dark in the closet.
All right. Yeah, no. So in order to, I don't know why they didn't just push it. Like I don't know why they didn't just push the show times till later.
Dude, I thought there was gonna be like an hour break in between each of them, but it was like 5 minutes.
It was exactly 5 minutes.
And it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Why?
We started at Thor 1 started at 6 a.m. with no trailers, and by the time we got to Love and Thunder, it was only 12. It was only noon. So we got to see it super early, which I guess is cool. But now we're just super sleepy. We're just super sleepy for the rest of the day.
My eyes are fried.
Yeah, man, and your head hurts. Your head hurts after marathoning movies on an IMAX screen for like 8 hours straight. But I don't know. It was a pretty enjoyable experience overall. I think the only other movie marathon I did like that was also Marvel, and it was leading up to Endgame. There was a 3-day movie marathon, all 22 movies back to back, similar to this one where there were no breaks in between. Yeah, I slept in the theater, and I ate popcorn for 3 days, and I got chicken and waffles one night, and they got us Happy Meals on the second night because the Happy Meals at the time had Avengers toys. I got Black Widow, I think, and I ended up getting a second Happy Meal, and I think I got Ronin. I think I got Hawkeye. But it was fun. So that was the last time that I did something like this. And I wish it had happened closer to when this happened, because I am 3 years older. But boy, do I get tired more easily.
You're 3 years older I will love you more than I'll ever show. I will. The Steven Wilson song.
Go on.
It's called 3 Years Older.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Huh. Wouldn't have picked. I wouldn't have guessed. Yeah. So that was our morning. Was just doing that and waiting for the Dokkan anniversary banners to drop, because last night, which was Wednesday the 6th, last night they had a producer's letter that came out. It was a video and explained that the banners would drop tomorrow, but only in certain time zones, because for us they drop at midnight tonight. I have a feeling we're not going to make it to midnight given our specific scenario. But yeah, dude, movie marathons. How do we feel about movie marathons, just as a concept in general?
I really like it. I mean, we had a Star Wars one before Force Awakens came out.
Yeah, that's right. That was my first time seeing episodes 2 or 3 or 1.
But that was nice because it was just in the house, and we can do whatever.
Yeah, take breaks whenever we want.
And we didn't have to start at 6 in the morning.
We did get coffee. I mean, I got coffee. We got Dunkin', not sponsored. No free clout, but we got coffee and a refresher and a bacon sandwich, bagel sandwich.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped a little bit.
And then we got the unlimited refill popcorn bucket, which neither of us refilled once.
Not even when we left the theater.
How much popcorn can one person possibly eat?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. And it's not like you could even be like, oh yeah, I'll share some with whoever comes with me, because everyone got a popcorn bucket. As long as you had a ticket, everyone got one of these. So, I mean, but it's cool though. It's got Jane Foster on one side and Thor on the other, and then just Love and Thunder, like the logo. But yeah, honestly, for $40, it was a really good deal. I would even say for $40 to see the new Thor in IMAX, and then to get the popcorn and the soda.
And it's like the shirts are like $20, you know?
Yeah, the shirts are, we get the lanyards, and then we got the popcorn bucket.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal. And so we're going to talk about the Thor movies today.
And to any of our friends, we're sorry.
We're sorry. Listen, we didn't want to talk about it, that we were doing this beforehand, because I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's hard to ask a lot of people to commit to something like this. And I just assumed that it would be easier with 2 people on board. And also we made the decision like last week to do it.
Yeah.
So, because you have to do it a little bit earlier. Or at least I thought we had to do it a little bit earlier, because I thought the theater would be packed. Because it was packed. Granted, that was for Endgame. But it was for the 22 movie marathon. We had people coming from out of state. Like I had people come from like not Ohio, but other like Midwestern states. We had people come from like southern states. I was sitting next to, because I went to go do that by myself, which I recommend going to see movies alone. I don't necessarily recommend seeing 22 movies in a row alone, because it's a lot of looking at your phone and hoping that people want to talk to you and ask you where you are for 3 days. But I met a couple of cool people. I met this guy named Rahul, who he was also a film guy from California. I think he went to school in California, and he was a big fan of Conan O'Brien, and he was actually on a couple of like Conan segments like on TV, because he sat front row with signs and stuff. And he followed me on Instagram, and he commented on my YouTube videos after that, which was really sweet. So Rahul, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing well. Remember that movie marathon we sat through? That was intense. But yeah, so movie marathons can be really cool. It depends on the franchise. Like if you're doing like something like the MCU, or like at this point the MCU would be impossible. That would be like 4 or 5 days in a row.
Just a week.
Yeah, just a week straight. Because there were no breaks. Like, there were no breaks for the 22 movies, and it was almost 3 full days of movies. So, I don't know. But if you're doing, like, Friday the 13th, I think that has a lot of installments. Like, that would be a lot.
There are 12 of them. Way to drop the ball.
They're
When's
waiting.
The 13th Friday the 13th movie.
They're
bro?
waiting. Stop pressuring them, David. David.
No. Where's number 13? It's fucking horse shit. Anyway. God, dude.
So we're talking Thor.
Talking all the Thors.
We're talking
Very
all the
briefly,
Thors,
but-
yeah. And then we're mainly focusing on Love and Thunder, but to kind of make sense and contextualize Love and Thunder, we got to talk about the other ones because we just saw them this morning. Then we're going to talk about Guns N' Roses and our specific
very unrelated to Thor
feelings.
I just want to talk about Guns N' Roses.
Just wants to.
I just felt like it.
He's
you
a
know?
big fan. And then we are going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, which kind of goes against the rules of our video game section, but we figured we should talk about it because the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh, which I'm pretty sure was the manga first, but it spawned everything else after that, has tragically passed away. And I think that happened, today or yesterday?
It was today.
It was today, yeah. So we think we have enough memories between the two of us to pay tribute to the guy and Yu-Gi-Oh as a franchise. And I had a video game. I had a Yu-Gi-Oh video game on PS2 when I was younger called Duelist of the Roses, and I played the hell out of that. So I'll definitely bring that up during our conversation. But first and foremost, we gotta talk about what's on the Thor front of our brains.
Spoilers
For every single Thor.
All 4 Thor movies.
All four Thor
Thors.
movies. All 4 Thors. All 4 Thors. All 4 Thors.
All 4 Thor.
All
All 4
four-
Thor. All 4 Thor.
I hope you're doing this at home too, and we're not the only assholes doing the all 4 Thor. All 4 Thors. Yeah, but mostly Love and Thunder. So I think what we got to do is start at the very beginning, much like Korg does in the beginning of Love and Thunder.
So Thor was actually, it wasn't the first MCU movie I saw in theaters because I saw the Hulk one.
Oh, yeah.
But Thor was the first one where it was like every time. Because I didn't see the first 2 Iron Mans in theaters.
Yeah, I missed. Technically, I saw Iron Man 2 when I did the 22 movie marathon. But when the movies came out, at least I missed Iron Man 2 and Eternals. I didn't see Eternals in theaters. But yeah, Thor was 2011, came out the same year as Captain America.
Yep. So, it's fine. You guys remember how loud that goddamn destroyer was?
Yeah. The Asgardian weapon that they use it's just a humanoid, like robot looking thing, and it shoots beams from its whole face, not just its mouth or where its whole face would be. Just
But yeah, every time it blasted, it was so. They fixed it, I think, for the marathon because it didn't blow my ears out.
It was not nearly as loud.
But speaking of loud shit, the in the Hulk movie,
Yeah.
you remember when he was in the field, and they deployed those like shield like sound things that like blasted him with sound.
Yeah.
That shit was the loudest thing I ever heard in the theater.
Yeah, theaters back in 2008. Yeah,
Or 9.
Yeah, they were
2010.
2010. Yeah, because that was the same year as Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not as monitored is the right word? I don't know. They weren't as regulated in 2008 and 2010. Now, because there's so many like big format theaters, I'm sure that they're a lot more conscious about how loud they can get and blah blah blah. But yeah, the first Thor movie, the origin movie, or you could say Thorigin. It introduces the main cast of side characters, including Jane Foster. One Jane Foster. We got Darcy. We got Eric Selvig, who don't return for Ragnarok, but they do all return for Love and Thunder, which is cool. And getting to see and relive the smaller MCU was really, really interesting, because there aren't any cameos from people that we've already seen before, except for Nick Fury in the post-credit scene, but that was when he was the biggest deal. You get a little glimpse of Hawkeye, you get a little glimpse of Coulson, apparently I learned from another YouTube channel, I think they're called Shit Show. I think they're called, or like the making of Shit Show or something, but they detailed the making of the MCU in the first bunch of movies. Apparently Kenneth Branagh was given complete creative control with Thor, unlike the other directors in phase 1, or even a lot of the directors in phase 2 and 3. So Kenneth Branagh came on the project because he wanted to do Thor, and Marvel was like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want. And they did. I remember one of the coolest things about watching Thor at that time was hearing Walk by the Foo Fighters in the movie and then later in the credits. So I was really looking forward to hearing that on like surround sound, like big movie theater speakers, and it did not disappoint. Chris Hemsworth bleached his eyebrows, which I think is just a funny fact for the first Thor movie. Yeah. And Tom Hiddleston, so much younger. Holy like he's a baby in this one. He's a baby in the first Thor movie. But I will say this, throughout all of the Thor movies, Loki is consistently one of the best parts of every one of these movies. Like, Tom Hiddleston acts his little ass off. Like that scene where he's yelling at Odin in the treasure room about like finding out that he's a frost giant or whatever. That made me emotional. I was like, damn, Tom Hiddleston, you got me feeling for you, bud. And then he puts Odin into fucking cardiac arrest just by yelling at him. But yeah, dude. I think for an origin story, it's pretty dang solid. And I enjoy the music a lot more this time around. The main ba 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 ba, and then it goes into like the Thor theme. But yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a solid movie. I mean, it's pretty fun. The fun fish out of water.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great lines. Another, I need a horse. Listen. Know this, son of Cole, which I've never noticed until now.
Goes completely under the radar, and they don't talk about it in the movie. It's just like a not even a throwaway line, but it's so good. Yeah, very, very underappreciated franchise. Definitely at the time too. I don't think anyone's favorite Avenger was Thor until Ragnarok, but we're not there yet because we got to talk about the black sheep of the MCU, Thor: The Dark World, which picks up. We lost him, folks. Thor: The Dark World.
Wake me up when we get to the good.
So it picks up after Age of Ultron. I believe it's after. No, because that was 2013. Was Dark World. So it happens after Avengers. Yeah. And there's a lot of, what I will say about the Dark World is the best part about it, in my opinion, is the strengthening of the relationship between Thor and Loki, because you get to see them interact as brothers more, but Loki isn't trying to hide as much. Like, Loki more resembles who he is today than he did in the original Thor movie. Again, Tom Hiddleston acting his ass off. And when they bicker, the middle part of the Dark World is the best part of the movie. When they're escaping from Asgard, because there's so many good bits.
Good job. You just decapitated your grandfather. Yeah. That whole thing is just really damn good.
Yeah.
Also, the abundance of shoe jokes.
Yeah,
every single one gets better.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, give me your shoe. Let me throw it in the thing.
Yeah.
And then Stan Lee comes. Yeah, can I have my shoe back? And then when Thor and Jane are like looking for the convergence,
yeah,
he's like, "Why are there so many shoes here?"
His delivery is really good.
Such a good setup.
Yeah, the Steve Rogers cameo is always good. I love seeing Chris Evans just get to ham it up on camera. Yeah, and there's another running joke where the Warriors 3 keep stopping Loki, and they're like, if you betray him, I'll kill you. And then the next time it happens, he's like, if you betray him, and then he's like, let me guess, you'll kill me. Yeah, I just fucking love cheeky Loki. And then at the end of that whole sequence, they have a really honest conversation in the dark world, like when they're flying through it, which is really good for both of their characters. But yeah, the first part, like right up until their mom dies, and then right after the middle part, like where Malekith actually gets the ether, I don't know, it's just not as enjoyable. The worst villain in the MCU.
What was his name?
Malekith.
I already forgot who that was. Good God, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the actor's fault. It's not the actor's fault. I think it's just the script.
I do think the dark elves themselves look cool, like the hollowed eyes.
Yeah, like when they do the invasion of Asgard and you see them in like the red light and they're panning over all of the fleet of dark elves. I'm like, that is effective tension building. Like I'm starting to feel like, ooh, like they're just scary masks.
And not to mention their damn ships.
Yeah.
This movie came out 1 month after Vengeance Falls by Trivium.
Yeah.
And the artwork and the ships are like the exact same.
Yeah.
Like the T in like...
Right.
They look the same.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Josh were like geeking out over that. Like, dude, this is like the Trivium thing. Dude, do you remember when we saw that in theaters?
Did we see Dark World together?
Yes, with Josh.
Oh.
And it was like the hardest I've ever seen it rain. Like you were driving and like we literally couldn't see like 5 feet in front of us.
What was that, at Crestwood?
Yeah. We were going to the Country Club Hills.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's wild. I remember us going to see Toy Story 3 and having to walk to the Crestwood AMC.
Yeah.
But I don't remember going to see Dark World.
Yeah, dude, it rained really hard.
Yeah. It was everyone crying about how it's not even that it's a bad movie. I just think it's really boring. I think if it wasn't part of the MCU, I'd just chalk it up to another boring action movie, but now it has to be considered like one of the worst in the MCU just by comparison. But it did nothing to help make Thor more exciting. And then he kept being just the same character in both of the Avengers movies.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are worse movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
Eternals! Marvel! Maybe Black Widow too. But, Iron Man 2, I don't know.
I didn't understand the last one. But yeah, so I mean it's definitely solid, but it's not until...
And I just saw this fucking movie last week.
You was telling me that.
I am going through the MCU again with Haley. And the last movie we saw was Winter Soldier a couple days ago. And
which is one of my favorite
Winter
MCU
Soldier
movies.
Before that was Dark World. So I just saw this fucking movie and I was not excited to see it again.
In theaters. Yeah, it didn't make the experience any better.
No.
Yeah.
I was even more sick of it.
Well then, let's move on to the next chapter in Thor's journey. Arguably the best Thor movie. And not to spoil anything, but that does include Love and Thunder. Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok picks up after Age of Ultron. Kind of. It's 2 years after Age of Ultron happened. And the first time that we see Thor since. And directed by Taika Waititi. I think he wrote it too or helped write it. It
probably
is so funny and so action-packed. And there are so many good moments in it. And
so many colors.
So many colors, yeah. If you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, if you've never seen a Thor movie, I don't think you need to see anything other than Ragnarok. Because even in Infinity War, they kind of go over Thor's story leading up to that. So if you watch any Thor movie and it's Ragnarok, you're in a good spot, I think.
It doesn't help that Infinity War literally destroys Ragnarok.
Right. It picks up
all its successes.
Picks up right after Ragnarok, and then everything that happened in that movie is just done. Kind of. I mean, they land on New Asgard in, where was that, Sweden or like Denmark or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not all for naught, but I digress. Yeah, Bruce Banner, the Hulk, is in this movie, which is so exciting. It almost makes it feel like a buddy cop movie in the middle. Like their interactions, like Hulk and Thor, and then Banner and Thor, so funny. God, dude, like just the improv between the two, the improv between everybody. Jeff Goldblum being in the movie as the Grandmaster, so good. Yeah, man, I don't know what else is what, you know, I don't know what else we can say about Ragnarok that hasn't already been said. The soundtrack rocks. The Warriors 3 get killed off almost immediately, which I think is hilarious because Zachary Levi, who plays Finral, I think is his name, the one with the, you know, the
blonde one.
Yeah, he doesn't even get a single line. He just gets and then he went and he did Shazam. So that's fun.
I'd say that's the biggest negative. That's a fucking disgrace.
Yeah, like those actors.
The way that shit went down. I mean, at least the third guy went out fighting.
Yeah, Hogan got to have a whole dialogue with Hela. Yeah, I think Hela, if you don't count Loki, is like I wouldn't even say one of my favorite MCU villains, but I think Cate Blanchett plays her really well. And I think she's got the sibling rivalry banter down pat. And she's got some interesting things to say about Asgardians, like past and everything. But I love seeing all three of the siblings in the same conversation or the same shot. Plus, Doctor Strange is in it.
Yeah, for a tiny bit.
For a tiny bit, but it's like it's little cameos like that make that movie so special, because it's like you're going from moment to moment, but it's like, oh my god, this is where this character shows up, and this is where this character shows up. Instead of, oh, we're with Thor the whole time, or Thor's buddy. Yeah. So not that that's an issue, but I just, it reinvigorated Thor as a character, and Chris Hemsworth has been playing Thor a lot more enthusiastically ever since. And I think it's the best thing to happen to that character.
Yeah, I remember seeing interviews when Ragnarok was coming out where they were like, where Chris Hemsworth was like, yeah, I was getting kind of sick of myself. Because we watched all this shit back to back. And like from Dark World to Ragnarok, there is a drastic difference in the way Thor is written. And for the better. Wow.
Yeah.
Like Thor phase 1 and 2 is extremely different than like phase 3.
Right. Well, because he's very one note. He's like, he can't be as witty as Tony Stark, and he can't be as straight-laced as Steve, so he has to kind of sit somewhere in the middle, and that doesn't really give him very much to do in any, like in the first Thor, like the first Avengers, he's just there to be a flying guy but also get made fun of by Stark. And then in Age of Ultron, he's there to have the prophecy about the Infinity Stones and basically just leave the Avengers for a little bit. So Thor Ragnarok and Taika Waititi, thank you for making this character so much more interesting and making Chris Hemsworth want to sign on for even more movies, trying to beat Hugh Jackman's record.
Are you Thor the God of Hammers? Like, dude, when Immigrant Song kicks in that second time on the bridge.
Yeah, dude. When Thor gets his Super Saiyan moment, oh my god. And I'm calling it a Super Saiyan moment because that's exactly what it is. It's like he's back against the wall, he's on the ropes, and then he's reminded of like his pride, you know, his Asgardian pride, and like, yeah, that whole sequence, and then Loki looking up and he's like, yep, that's my brother. That's my guy.
It just makes me think of his entrance in Infinity War.
Oh my god,
How fucking cool that was.
Yeah, like Ragnarok made Thor a lot of people's favorite Avenger.
Just like Winter Soldier made Captain America cool.
Yep, exactly. So go Ragnarok, go Taika Waititi. So now we get to talk about Taika's second Thor film, which makes him the only director to direct. Shut the fuck up. Siri was trying to interrupt me. Sorry. It makes Taika Waititi the only Thor director to do 2 movies. And boy, does it show.
This movie was a straight up comedy.
I would add to that by saying that it's a romantic comedy.
It's like with Multiverse of Madness, it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
This is a comedy.
Yeah. Because it plays with a lot of tropes that you see in those kind of movies. It's definitely a little wackier, and I think what the team's goal with this one was like, well, we might as well make something interesting, and they just threw shit at the wall and saw what stuck, because it was like one of my biggest problems with the movie is I feel like the plot doesn't have as much. You could say the same thing about Ragnarok, right? How they're like going from place to place, but ultimately the goal is just to get back to Asgard. Like in this movie, Gore the God Butcher has his opening credits where you find out his backstory, and he wants to kill all the gods because his daughter was killed because gods didn't bless him and his daughter in the middle of this desert. And he goes to New Asgard, kidnaps all of the children, like a Sailor Moon villain, traps them in a cage on another planet, and then for the rest of the movie, the goal is just get the kids. And so they're going from place to place trying to like find ways to go to that final destination. So it's very reminiscent of Ragnarok, where like they start in one place and then they need to get back to that place, and they spend the whole movie trying to get back. But I don't know. I feel like plot-wise, it's a lot weaker than Ragnarok. I feel like the journey that they go on doesn't feel as smooth, because there are a lot of rocky moments. There are a lot of rocky moments in here, but ultimately I feel like the team that made this movie achieved their goal, because it's definitely different. It's definitely different than any other like MCU movie. I don't know, man. What, like, the general thoughts?
People were saying that Gore was the best MCU villain.
Not even close.
He wasn't even the best Thor villain.
No.
Who the fuck is saying that?
Yeah. Like, no offense to Christian Bale. Maybe there is some stuff that got cut from, the movie. But just because he gets a backstory in the beginning of the movie doesn't make him the best villain. I definitely think he's a great actor. Christian Bale acted the hell out of this role, and like the different faces of Gore, he did really well. It felt like there were a couple of moments where he was like over villaining, like when he has again, spoilers, when he has Thor and Valkyrie and Jane like hostage on his planet. He's trying to do like, I don't know. It's just such a far cry from his character in the beginning of the movie, who is so serious before he started killing villains, and then all of a sudden he's like this, woo, like this like Joker like villain. So I don't know. There were a couple of moments where I was like, that's weird, but I guess your character wasn't established enough to make me say that that's a weird character decision for you. I don't know.
In fact, the opening was kind of hella rushed too.
Yeah,
it opens. He has a daughter. He dies like a couple seconds later. Then he's at the god, and then the god's laughing at him. And then he kills him. It's like it happens so quickly.
Yeah,
and it's like the movie was 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Yeah,
it definitely shows that they were like, hey, there was 4 editors too,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey, you guys got to get this shit down to under 2 hours for whatever reason.
It makes me wonder, because there are a couple of scenes towards the end too, like writing decisions that I'm like, this seems like way too convenient. I almost wonder if the production of this movie had to be like bumped up. Like I wonder if the Taika and crew didn't have enough time like with this movie to like write, because like, how convenient is it that Jane just so happens to get cancer, and then in her research notices a book about like fairy like Norse fairy tales and Thors and gods and stuff, and then reads the words like, oh yeah, people who possess Mjolnir have great health, and then she's like, that's what I gotta do. That's what, and they have this montage where they're going through her like at computers and stuff, trying to basically like the Doctor Strange montage, except a lot shorter, where he's like trying to figure out how to fix his hands, but she's trying to figure out how to fix her cancer. So I don't know. And then like once she's Thor, like they kind of get right into it.
Yeah, it just kind of happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, which I think is kind of cool. I honestly wish, though, like, from that point, we saw more combat from Jane, because I think we only see her really fight, like, 3 times, which I guess is enough times for some people, but I don't know. I just think, like, her power set as Thor is different enough from, like, Chris Hemsworth. That's like Mjolnir, because it's shattered, like, she puts it back together again, but she can, like, throw it in pieces, you know? Which is the coolest thing I've ever seen, because she has some really cool choreography where she's like flipping through the air and like throwing pieces and they're coming back and blah, blah, blah.
You know, when you call this movie a romantic comedy, I was like, yeah, I mean, Jane's back and everything, but I think the best romantic scenes were between Thor and Stormbreaker.
Yeah, because they anthropomorphize. Yeah, I think that's the word. The hammers in this movie, because now there's 2. Like, there were 2 in Endgame, but they both got used. But in this one, it's like Thor's old hammer. So, like, Stormbreaker will sometimes like Thor is like looking at Jane being all cool with Mjolnir, and he's like, so cool. And then out of the corner, like the back, you'll see like Stormbreaker just. And then Thor's like, "Oh God, I'm sorry." Like that scene. Remember that scene from The Office where Dwight, like, they all go to that like Dave and Buster's place, and Dwight is flirting with one of Pam's bridesmaids the whole time, and then they're walking together and they're like flirting with each other, and then Angela is walking behind them. And the girl like walks off, and Dwight is like admiring her, and he looks over and he's like, "Ah, fuck." It's like Angela just surprises him because she's so small. Yeah, that's how I feel with like Thor and Stormbreaker in this one. Yeah, and then Stormbreaker ends up having issues. There are parts of it that feel like Family Guy sketches. Like when Thor like rainbow bridges out of the main hall of like New Asgard, and he tries to fly away, and he crashes into some pillars, and he's like, "Stormbreaker, what's going on? Is this about Mjolnir?" And then he walks in and he's like, "Didn't work."
Like, that's what I mean. This movie is just a comedy.
Yeah, it's the action scenes are cool, but the funny scenes are really funny. I think it's less about funny dialogue in this one and more about funny like bits, you know, and like funny like situational humor. So it's a different kind of comedy. It's still very Taika Waititi. Korg is great in this one too.
Yeah, but I gotta say that whole like the black and white part,
I was just going to talk about that.
Really cool.
It is the coolest part of the movie, and we're there for like 20 minutes. It feels like, and just the way that they edit that sequence, and like the way that the shadow creatures emerge off of this really small planet, kind of reminded me of like a storybook. I don't know, like a gothic storybook. Or like the beginning opening sequence of Resident Evil 8, like Resident Evil Village, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that. Or like Limbo. Yeah, dude. It's the coolest part of the movie, like direction-wise, choreography-wise, like fight-wise.
And look-wise. Like the only color was like the weapons and like their surrounding, like their hands or their armor. Like around their arm, it was like colored. Mm-hmm. That the blue lightning's going on. It looks really cool.
It really does. And we got to talk about the end, because after the fight with Gore and Valkyrie and Jane and Thor all fighting Gore the God Butcher, Jane fucking gets cancered so hard, so she's kind of out of the fight, and Valkyrie gets stabbed, so she's out of the fight, which was really disappointing because I was like, Come on, man! Like you're gonna just take her out and then have Thor. So Thor goes back up to fight Gore, who is trying to meet I don't know if it's a god.
Yeah, what were these names? Thor's like grandfather was Bor,
yeah.
Thor, and now Gore.
Yeah, just give us more of those.
Give me more Gore and Thor and
Bor, and Namor.
Watch out for War.
Yeah, War. But yeah,
Door.
Hey guys, I'm in the MCU.
It's the Thor 5 character right there. It's
Door. Yeah. So, I think I think the final fight in this movie is a little goofier than it needs to be, because they don't rescue the kids immediately. For anyone who's a fan of Naruto Shippuden, you'll know what I mean when I reference this, but there's a moment where in the Fourth Great Ninja War, Naruto has to give his chakra, like his ki or energy, to like all of his ninja friends, and they all sort of get a little bit of like the Nine-Tails Fox chakra that's inside him. That happens in this movie. Thor gives all of these kids the power of Thor for a second.
For a limited time.
Yeah, and so all of these kids who have no fighting experience, by the way, because he asked them at the beginning of the fight, does anyone here have combat training? They all just develop combat training and start killing these shadow monsters, which, here's what I heard. I heard that Taika, Chris, Natalie, and Christian Bale, all of their kids were in this movie, part of that group of kids that they have to save. So I can guarantee it was part of a conversation where all of them were like, do you guys want to be in an action scene? And they're like, yeah. So they put him in the last scene in the movie. That's what I mean. It's just like they were just trying to like have fun making this movie, and it shows. But unlike Ragnarok, where it's like a tighter story and like the action is tighter and like the big moments are like cooler, I think this one falls just a little bit short. I was thinking that it's kind of like Diet Ragnarok, where like it feels very similar because it's the same crew for the most part, but it's just a little different. It's just a little less. Yeah, man. And then, you know, there's a couple of sweet moments at the end where Jane dies. I almost thought that Gore's wish to the eternity,
yeah.
Yeah, eternity. This basically God that can grant a wish to anyone who finds it first. I thought his wish after seeing Thor and Jane have their moment, I thought his wish was going to be, well, I get to spend forever with my daughter if I just die. I wish that Jane Foster didn't have cancer anymore, because she said her name in the battle. So like he very well could have called her by name and said, I wish Jane Foster wasn't dying. I thought that was going to be the wish, but instead he decides to bring his daughter back, let Jane die, and then as he's dying, he tells Thor, hey, look after my daughter. And Thor says yes.
Well, Korg was like, I think he'd be great dead.
Yeah, but Thor didn't hear that. So I guess they do kind of hint at it in the middle of the movie, but yeah, and then the end of the movie is just Thor being a dad, having his like Kratos moment, which, speaking of Kratos, Gore is just Kratos, right?
Pretty much.
Just like killing gods left and right. They kill Zeus in this one, except not really, because he's alive at the end, and they set up Hercules being the next Thor villain, which is kind of cool because Hercules has his whole thing in the comics. And then Jane meets Heimdall in Valhalla, which is like the post-credit scene, which I think is really cool. Yeah, do I wish we could have had more Jane Foster Thor like in the MCU? Absolutely. Did I think this is a bad movie by any means? No. But I don't think it's as strong as Ragnarok in a lot of ways. And I don't know if I want to see this one again anytime soon. But all of our friends want to see it. So
would you take it over the other two?
Yes. I would take it over the other two. Definitely over Dark World, and only over Thor, because I feel like I would rather take a diet version of like the Taika Waititi Thor than, you know, the full Kenneth Branagh Thor. So if I had to rank all the Thor movies, I'd put Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, Thor, and then Dark World.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did I say anything that you haven't said or are thinking?
Not really. The goats were kind of funny, I guess, but they kind of yelled too much.
Yeah, I feel like that was a funny idea that they had, and then some marketing guy was like, "Oh, we could put that on posters and shirts and make them into toys and stuff, and kids are gonna like it." So they had no choice but to put them, like, as soon as they were on the ship with the Guardians of the Galaxy in the beginning. By the way, the Guardians are in this movie in the beginning. But as soon as they put them on the ship and all they were doing was screaming and like everyone was talking over each other, I was like, this is annoying. I think that's the point. But it, but yeah. So we got goats on our shirt now. I say it's good. I say it's definitely a watch, especially if you're an MCU fan. If you're a Thor fan, 100% go see it. If you're going to see it because you think Christian Bale is going to be this god of a villain, then I don't know, you might be a little disappointed. But I don't know. So I'd say definitely watch it.
But you know what really annoyed me about this movie, Nick?
What really annoyed you about this movie, David?
Did Taika Waititi and Axl Rose like fuck or something? Why is it that the only thing you hear in this fucking movie is Guns N' Roses?
Yeah!
I mean, my God. And not only did they play 4 fucking songs by Guns N' Roses, there's a poster in the back.
Yep.
Heimdall's kid is named after fucking Axl.
Yeah, but like, he wants to be called Axl because his original name is I forget what his name is.
Whatever. But he wants to change it because of a cool rock band he saw on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, dude, seriously. What did they call him up and be like, "Hey, can we use Welcome to the Jungle?" And Axl's like, "Well, if you want to use one of our songs, you have to make all your songs our shit."
That's probably exactly how it went.
Because he would do that. Because fuck Axl Rose and fuck Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. So the only reason we want to talk about Guns N' Roses today is so David can rant about how much he hates Guns N' Roses.
I'm so sick of them. I'm so done with Guns N' Roses.
Did you ever like Guns N' Roses?
I mean, at a point, maybe.
Yeah.
But then it's like in every stereotypical, like, we got to have a rock song. Oh, yeah, Paradise City.
Oh, yeah, or Sweet Child of Mine, or Welcome to the Jungle, which are all in this movie.
And then November Rain was in there somewhere, too.
Yeah, at the end, it was kind of like, it was like, yeah, that must have been how it was. Because I can guarantee Taika was just trying to think of a companion song that, like, for Immigrant Song that was in the first one. It was probably Sweet Child of Mine. But then they had to include the other songs because Axl was like, well, if I'm getting some money, I'm going to take all of the money and you're going to use all of the songs. Because he's like the only guy in Guns N' Roses now. I mean, the only guy that matters because like Slash is doing his own thing. I think Duff McKagan is doing his own thing. I don't know the other members of the band.
I don't really give a shit either.
But did you know I bought Chinese Democracy when it came out? And I tried to defend Chinese Democracy.
Doesn't that one have Buckethead on it?
I think so.
I think he's on that one. Or maybe a couple songs.
Yeah. I remember going to a Kmart when I was in high school, when I was going through my classic rock phase, when I needed to get the discography of everybody. And I found Appetite for Destruction in like the $5 section. And I was like so excited to get it. And I listened to it. And like other than the classic songs on that album, because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of singles on that album, but like there's a lot of filler.
Those 3 songs, there's like 12 songs on that album. I've heard it too.
Way too many people
songs. Are like, yeah, this is the best debut album of all time. Are you fucking serious? You ever hear of a band called Boston?
Yeah. Oh dude, Foreplay.
Yo,
Long Time.
Foreplay.
Oh my god.
Smokin'.
Peace of Mind. Isn't More Than a Feeling on there?
More Than a Feeling, yeah. And then there's a 5th one.
It's towards the end. And that album only has 8 songs on it. And dude, 7 of them are bangers.
Get the fuck out of here with this Appetite for Destruction. I'd rather listen to Dick Cheese.
Richard Cheese. Yeah, I showed you David Richard Cheese because he has the first thing David said when the movie was over, he turns to me and he's like, if I hear Guns N' Roses one more goddamn time, I'm gonna fucking scream.
And guess what? Guess what I heard when I turned on my car? The Drive playing motherfucking Paradise City.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I can only imagine that Guns N' Roses is gonna blow up after this because a younger generation who might not be as familiar with them is gonna discover them through this movie. similar to like how the TikTok generation of kids is now getting into Metallica because of Stranger Things, which, don't get me wrong, is fucking sick. I feel like Appetite for Destruction and Guns N' Roses are only going to get bigger after this movie comes out, even if it's only by a little bit.
God, he's such an asshole.
And his voice is not good.
Axl Rose is such a piece of shit. He's like one of the biggest cunts in rock.
Like notoriously bad. Can we say the C word? I think we can.
I don't give a shit. We run the show.
That's true. We don't have any sponsors.
Vanessa, is it cool? Yeah, it's cool.
We don't have any sponsors yet. But, But yeah, dude. So Guns N' Roses... I consider Slash a good, like, the rhythm section, they do a good job. Axl Rose is an asshole, and only a handful of his melodies are really popular, but I think they fall into the same category as Motley Crue. They're like motorcycle rock bands, which feels weird. It's just like dudes with bandanas and like leather jackets, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna rev up my motorcycle to Paradise City.
Or Kickstart My Heart.
Or Kickstart My Heart, or Girls, Girls, Girls.
I mean, it literally starts with the motorcycle.
Yeah. So it's like, it's the same genre, and like also the lead singers both are terrible. Have you seen Vince Neil sing anytime recently?
Vince Neil sounds like, or Motley Crue sounds like Bob Dylan. You ever see that video?
No.
Oh my God, look up Motley Crue sounds like Bob Dylan, and there's a subtitle. Someone put subtitles over what Vince is singing, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. But I'd take Motley Crue over Guns N' Roses any day.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of them.
Yeah, so the fact that they showed up 5 times, 7 if you include the character named after Axl Rose and the poster, they show up 7 times in this movie, and if you're not a Guns N' Roses fan, it might drop it down in the ranking for you a little bit. But ending on a fun note, still within music and Thor, on the poster, like on the wall of like Heimdall's kids' room, there was also a poster for a band called the Mad Titans, and it had like a purple skull on it, which is like a cool little nod to Thanos because he is like the Mad Titan,
Oh yeah, and then the end credits, I guess every name was in a different band font.
Yeah, there is. I couldn't recognize all of them, but I saw Judas Priest. We saw Anthrax, Megadeth. I think I saw Creedence Clearwater Revival. I'm not sure.
It's like, where were all those songs, Taika? I mean, you put Rainbow in the Dark in the credits.
Yeah, which is really cool.
No, Guns N' Roses only.
Yeah, and the MCU, like the theme that plays is like on guitar.
Oh, yeah.
It starts on acoustic guitar and then it gets like rocky, which is really it's really cool. So yeah, fuck Guns N' Roses, fuck Axl Rose. Taika, we love you. Chris Hemsworth, this is the biggest that he's ever gotten for a Thor movie, and it shows. He gets naked in this. You see his ass.
He went from fat bod to god bod.
And then now he's living the dad life. So I don't know. We'll see how much of because there is going to be a Thor 5, and he is going to fight Hercules, and there is going to be a little girl. Is she going to become Thor?
Hey, you guys remember in the trailer where he was like, "My superhero days are over"?
Yeah.
They're not over.
They're not over.
What the fuck was that line?
Yeah, I think it was just a tease. I honestly thought that he was going to die and Jane was going to take over as Thor.
Honestly.
Which would have been a really cool idea, but, whatever, man. The next movie, if we end up getting like a Taika Waititi trilogy and he directs Thor 5, whatever it ends up being called, I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that's his plan, probably. And then the little girl is going to become Thor, maybe, because she's got alien powers, too. She can shoot beams out of her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty cool. That was really cute. Like at the last sequence of the movie where you find out why the movie's called Love and Thunder. I don't know. It was a cute little nod, and like the little girl, she's a cute enough actress. Like she has funny lines, which is very weird coming from a girl who like literally starved to death in the beginning of the beginning of her life. She just comes back from the dead, this super positive, like cheery young girl. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But we got one more thing to talk about. I guess we're just going from happy topic to angry topic to sad topic, covering all the bases in this episode.
Yes,
because now we get to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the impact that Kazuki Takahashi had on, I think, a lot of kids our age. Like, a lot of people our age, when we were kids, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was huge.
There was no one that wasn't into Yu-Gi-Oh!
It was like, you had people that weren't into Pokemon, you had people that weren't into Digimon, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Dude, you had people playing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards on the playground like every day. Like, people with like the dual discs, you know, like on their arms. I was so jealous of those kids. And I had a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards growing up. I didn't know how to play the game. I don't think anyone really did. But
I kind of sort of did, but
I just knew that the more stars you had, like, the probably the more powerful the card.
Yeah.
I knew Change of Heart was a really good card, and it was good enough to get banned from tournaments until like a couple months ago.
And that damn Pot of Greed face.
Yeah, the Pot of Greed. Look up. There's a VR chat video on YouTube where it's just some guy battling another guy, and he keeps using Pot of Greed, but he's like announcing it in like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime voice. He's like, and now I play Pot of Greed to summon three additional cards from my deck. And the other guy over chat is like, hey, you can't do that. He just does that over and over.
You remember it was like this little like fuzzy ball looking guy.
Kibito?
Yeah, something like that.
Kubito.
Had like 5 million of those cards.
Yeah, that was a really good. And
then you had the waifu.
The magician's.
Dark Magician Girl.
Dark Magician Girl. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, Dark Magician Girl. You can do whatever you want to me. I know you're just a monster. You're just. I don't even know if she's like conscious. I don't even know if that's an actual like person in there. Like, if there's a brain, you know.
Yeah, who knows, dude?
Who knows?
But,
probably Yuki, if I'm being honest.
Also, I feel like everyone knows that intro too.
Yeah, it's your move. I had
I'm getting hyped just thinking about it.
Yeah,
it makes me want to go out and start getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again.
It's a really good theme. I remember getting a CD-ROM back when those came free in cereal boxes, and it was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but it was free, so it wasn't like a long game. Like, you could do everything in the game in a day, but in the menu, it just played the Yu-Gi-Oh! Theme song over and over again. It was the coolest shit ever. Oh my god, dude. It was so sick. I also had there's a game on PS2, that Duelist of the Roses, which I haven't played or seen gameplay from in forever, but it was like it was like there was like a board game map where all of your cards, like your deck started on one end, and you pulled the card, and then you could put them down on like different game pieces, and then you move them around the board, and then if you encounter an enemy, you go into like battle mode, and if you put two cards on top of each other that could fuse, you get a fusion card. And I didn't know which cards could fuse into another, so I would spend half the battle just like mixing characters up on each other and like, you know, get like knowing what these combinations were. It was, to this day, one of the eeriest games I've ever played, because like there's no voice acting, there are no character models. I'm pretty sure the story mode is like when you're in the playing the actual game, it's just this like cryptic Castlevania-esque like music and like scenery. I don't know. It's like you're just playing in some void in space somewhere. But yeah. And then I was telling David earlier, one of the first things that I ever bought for myself from a book fair was the first volume of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. And I learned then and there that you read backwards, which was so weird to me. But the cool thing about most manga is if you try to read it like an English book, like an American, you know, Western book, it'll tell you like, hey, you're supposed to start on the other side, like read the other way. So I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And I felt so fucking cool reading this basically like comic book in class. But Yeah, man, Yu-Gi-Oh was the shit. Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, and Pokemon were like the three, like you couldn't escape them in like the early 2000s.
I escaped Digimon though. It was just Pokemon less cool.
All right.
Way less cool.
Less cool?
Digimon was absolutely at the bottom of those three.
Okay. I think I agree with you, but I still
Digimon is the Thor Dark World of
No, come on, dude. Oh.
that kind of shit. If Pokemon is Ragnarok, Yu-Gi-Oh is Love and Thunder, and then Digimon was Dark World.
No, Bakugan is going to be Dark World.
What the hell is Bakugan? I mean, I remember hearing about that, but I don't even know what the hell that is.
That I think was a little past our time, but those are the little like the balls that like you rolled them out and then they land on a card and then they like expand into like monsters. Come on, man. You know Bakugan.
I have no idea what this is.
Beyblade. Okay.
Oh, Beyblade.
Beyblade is the Dark World.
Let it rip.
Beyblade, let it rip. You can insert a fart sound, right? Yeah, just that one. But yeah, what about like? Did you have a favorite card growing up? Like a favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, or like a design? Because everyone liked Blue Eyes White Dragon. Exodia was just way too hard to get.
Yeah.
And then like what? Cypher the Sky Dragon was like the red one, and then there was a blue one.
Yeah, I'd have to.
The Egyptian god cards.
Yeah, because I don't remember a lot of them. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I stopped like 20 years ago. You know, this is a very early in my life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the last thing I went to rewatch the Yu-Gi-Oh movie.
Oh yeah.
In theaters with the homies.
Yeah.
And then at the end they showed a preview or something of like the newest Yu-Gi-Oh Reigns was like the new series.
Oh.
And it just looks so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you have to keep the protagonist the same. Like I think you gotta have a Goku or you have to have an Ash or like, you know, some character that you can grow with for the rest of time. I do like, since Yu-Gi-Oh is dubbed by 4Kids, Seto Kaiba is voiced by the guy who does Brock's voice in the early Pokemon dub, and I can't unhear it ever. And I forget, Yugi voiced someone. Did you know that Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku, voiced the bad guy in Lucario and the Mystery of Mew?
Really?
I think that was him.
The bad guy?
Yeah. Yeah, he also voiced Lucario. So I don't know if he voiced Lucario in the Mystery of Mew, but what are you looking up? Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Trying to look up different Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh
my god.
Did you ever watch the anime?
I did watch the show.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Joey Wheeler because he had the Black Eyes Red Dragon, or Red Eyes Black Dragon, which was cool.
Yeah.
Hey yo, Joey. Apparently, Joey Wheeler had this face that he would make, which was like it's being used as a meme now. But it's like I don't know how to describe it. But apparently, it comes from like an old Japanese like actor or wrestler or someone in Japanese culture that like does that face, and they were just like emulating that because they were such big fans of the guy. But yeah, man, I really liked the anime. I thought what's her name was really cute, the short hair brunette girl.
Yeah. Or whatever.
And then the other guy whose hair was just a single spike coming out of his head. I don't care about him at all. In fact, I don't remember anything about him.
I don't remember who that is. So
I remember there's an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh where they go camping. Because I watched clips of it, I think when I was in middle school, like on YouTube, and I was trying to find the whole episode. Because I think it was an episode where the girl kisses Yugi or something like that. Like I was super big into like watching like cartoon characters like kiss. I don't know what that says about me as a person or what it says about me when I was a kid. But yeah, man, I was just hoping that like one day like Ash and May would kiss, or like Ash and Misty would kiss, or like Ash and Dawn would kiss. And then I stopped watching the show. And then I found out that Ash and Serena kissed, but like off screen, so it didn't really count as a kiss. Yeah.
Wow.
And now they got all these cartoon characters kissing, which is cool. You know, good for cartoons. I think we're taking really big strides forward.
It's the episode where Bugs Bunny Frenches Mickey Mouse.
Episode of what? Episode of what, David?
The Office. Wasn't that the thing?
Oh,
the watermark.
Yeah, it was a duck. It was a beloved cartoon duck, Frenching like a dog or a mouse or something.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, it's what it. You know, Takahashi's death is one of those things that, like, I don't know. It kind of shakes up the world a little bit. Like, we're not even big fans of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was just one of those things that got announced that, I don't know. I'm grateful for this chance to like think back on my childhood and reflect on a big part of it. In retrospect, I realized how big a part Yu-Gi-Oh played in my childhood. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just one of those things that you start to see more and more as you grow up. So I don't know. Cherish the things that you have in your life while you can, and be sure to buy some Yu-Gi-Oh cards this weekend.
Don't. That is a wormhole I don't think you want to go on.
Buy some Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
You know how expensive those bitches are?
Buy a booster pack. Do it. Do it. Yeah. Yeah, man. Also, go see Thor: Love and Thunder. And don't listen to Guns N' Roses. Don't fucking do it. I know you're thinking about it. I know. Stop thinking about it.
Just saw Step Brothers recently too, and they're singing "Sweet Child of Mine." Fuck off.
That scene, I hate that scene so much because of the kid in the backseat. I hate the kid so much. I hate child prodigies with every fiber of my being. I don't know what it is about a human being under the age of 15 being really fucking good at something that pisses me off. I think it's just jealousy. I think that's what it is. But it's also like a show-offiness because you know the kid's been told, like, oh my God, you're amazing your whole life. I refuse to like watch that scene if I watch Step Brothers. I just want to skip it the whole time. It's just so cringy. Yeah, so fuck Guns N' Roses. Go watch Thor: Love and Thunder, and think about buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards this weekend.
Just don't.
Be sure to check out our socials, our other channels. David's got album reviews coming out, and he's looking for new content to post too. So if you got any fun music content to suggest to him, go find his video and comment. And I don't have any new YouTube content coming out, but I do Twitch on stream. I do that all the time. I do Twitch on stream. That's not what it is, Nick.
Twitch on stream?
Yeah, it's supposed to be flipped.
Yeah,
I stream on Twitch. And I put out music and I play shows if you're in the Chicagoland area. But other than that, I think we're gonna get some food and then take a nap and then summon. Oh, yeah, we lost him. We lost him, folks. And then we're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and summon on Dokkan for the 7th anniversary, which I still can't believe is real. So wish us luck. Enjoy the people in your life that you love. And I am going to fall in love with the king of a noble country and take half his land and half his livestock and and then I'm going to betray them. I'm going to betray the king. And then I'm going to start my own country. And then I'm going to reveal that I was a traitor the whole time. And then I'm going to blast Sweet Child of Mine out of my castle and make him hate going to see Love and Thunder in 300 years. Who's blowing up my messages on TikTok? All right, bye.